The Krillian command center buzzed with an urgency that transcended their usual disciplined silence. Commander Zeixther's crystalline exoskeleton flickered with agitated bioluminescence as he studied the holographic display suspended before him. Two red markers pulsed ominously in the contested zone of Theta 7, a desolate moon caught between the territorial ambitions of two galactic powers. "Repeat that," Zeixther commanded, his voice a harmonic resonance that carried both authority and disbelief. "Sir, our reconnaissance patrol, 12 soldiers, all elite trackers, vanished 17 standard hours ago in Sector 4 Delta. No distress signals, no debris, nothing." The intelligence officer's bioluminescence dimmed with obvious distress. "And according to our deep space interceptors, the humans have lost contact with one of their squads in the exact same region." Zeixther's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. In 3 cycles of war against humanity, he had learned that coincidences were merely patterns waiting to be understood. The humans were resourceful, cunning, and possessed an almost supernatural ability to survive situations that would obliterate more sensible species. But they weren't omnipotent. "Dispatch a recovery team, full combat load, and monitor all human communications. If they're planning something, I want to know about it." 17 kilometers away, in a makeshift command post carved into Theta 7's iron-rich crust, Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Martinez stared at her own tactical display with equal measures of frustration and concern. The 12 missing soldiers from Bravo Squad represented some of Earth's finest. Daniel Torres, her best scout; Elsa Kowalski, a demolitions expert who could disarm a fusion bomb with her eyes closed; and 10 others who had survived campaigns that had claimed thousands of their comrades. "Colonel, we're picking up increased Krillian activity near the search zone," her communications officer reported. "Looks like they've lost people too." Martinez's jaw tightened. Daniel had been investigating strange seismic readings in that sector, readings that didn't match any known geological or weapons activity. Whatever had swallowed 2 combat patrols whole was something neither side had encountered before. "Prep a rescue team, and keep monitoring the Krillians if they find our people first." She didn't need to finish the sentence. The treatment of prisoners on both sides had been inconsistent at best. Daniel Torres regained consciousness to absolute darkness and the acrid smell of ozone. His combat armor's HUD flickered intermittently, casting brief green glows across what appeared to be a smooth, metallic surface stretching in all directions. He tried to move and discovered that while he wasn't restrained, his limbs felt impossibly heavy, as though gravity had suddenly tripled. "Torres, you alive?" Elsa's voice crackled through his helmet comm, weak but unmistakable. "Barely, you." "I've been better. I count 7 of us conscious. The others—" Her voice trailed off and Daniel understood. They'd lost people in whatever had brought them here. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, Daniel noticed something that made his blood run cold. Arranged in a semicircle opposite his squad were 12 massive forms, their crystalline bodies reflecting what little light existed in this strange prison. Krillians, their ancient enemies, captured by the same force. One of the aliens moved, its bioluminescence pulsing in patterns Daniel had learned to recognize as their form of speech. But the sound that emerged was different, translated somehow by the very air around them. "Humans, we appear to share a predicament." Daniel struggled to his feet, his hand instinctively moving toward his sidearm before realizing it was gone. Stripped of weapons, surrounded by darkness, trapped with the enemy. Every tactical training session in his career had prepared him for almost everything except this. "Where are we?" Elsa asked, her engineer's mind already working the problem. The Krillian who had spoken, larger than the others, likely their commander, shifted its massive bulk. "Unknown. We were investigating anomalous energy signatures when the ground opened, consumed us. Your presence suggests you experienced something similar." Before anyone could respond, the darkness erupted with light. Blinding, painful, all-encompassing. When Daniel's vision cleared, he found himself staring at something that defied every physical law he understood. A construct, massive, geometric, impossible, hung suspended in what appeared to be a pocket dimension. Its surfaces shifted through colors that shouldn't exist, and at its center pulsed something that might have been organic, mechanical, or something entirely other. A presence filled Daniel's mind. Not words, but concepts, information dumped directly into his consciousness in a way that made his skull feel ready to split. Beside him, he heard Elsa gasp, and the Krillian commander's bioluminescence strobed wildly. The message was simple, horrifying, and utterly alien: observation, study, comparison. They were specimens, lab rats for something so far beyond human or Krillian understanding that their war, their territories, their casualties, their grand strategies, were nothing more than children fighting over toys in a sandbox. This entity had been watching both species, and now it wanted to see how they interacted under controlled conditions. "Did you get that?" Daniel asked quietly. "Every human and Krillian here received it," the alien commander confirmed. "We are entertainment, a hypothesis to be tested." The construct pulsed again, and new information flooded their minds. Challenges, tests, puzzles that would require cooperation between species that had been trying to exterminate each other for 3 years. Fail, and they would remain here, studied until they expired. Succeed, and they would be returned, though Daniel suspected returned might be a generous interpretation. Elsa moved to his side, her eyes meeting his through their helmet visors. She'd always been the practical one, the soldier who saw problems as equations to be solved. Tors, look around. Really look. He did, and he saw what she meant. The Krillians' crystalline biology, their natural resonance frequencies, perfect for manipulating certain energy fields. The humans' dexterity, their pattern recognition capabilities, their stubborn refusal to accept impossible situations. Separately, neither species could solve what lay before them. Together, the Krillian commander had reached the same conclusion. "Humans, I am Tactical Commander Zyxnoth. I believe our captor has ensured that cooperation is our only path to survival." Daniel looked at his remaining squad, then at the aliens who, days ago, he would have killed without hesitation. Elsa nodded slowly. The others followed suit, one by one. "Sergeant Daniel Tors, Earth Expeditionary Force," he said formally. "And if we're going to get out of here, we're going to need to stop thinking like enemies." "Agreed," Zyxnoth resonated. "Perhaps survival teaches faster than war." As the construct pulsed with what might have been approval or anticipation, two species began the uncomfortable process of learning to work together. Not because they wanted to, not because their governments had negotiated peace, but because something far older and more powerful than either of them had decided that humanity's greatest strength, and perhaps the Krillians as well, was the ability to adapt, to cooperate, to survive against impossible odds. The war would continue when they returned. But for now, in this pocket of twisted space, humans and aliens would learn a fundamental truth: that sometimes the universe itself demanded that old enemies become new allies, if only to remind both species that they were never the apex predators they believed themselves to be.